To close my door. Ah. I always forget to close that door. So, what's going on, everybody? Let me shut some music off here, because I'm going to try something different today. Hopefully this will run a little smoother, because I'm trying to do some different things with the music and stuff to try to get everything to run a little smoother on here. You know how I'm always adjusting things, trying to get things to work a little better. So, let's hope for the best. But today, of course, it's Tuesday, and on Tuesday nights, I do Magic, right? So, I'm doing my commander deck tonight of Nath of the Gilt-Leaf. And this chick here, I always don't know which way to go. Okay, she is a 4/4. And it says, what does it say? At the beginning of my upkeep, you may have target opponent discard a card at random. Whenever an opponent discards a card, you may create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. And I do a lot of shenanigans with those tokens. So, we're going to talk a lot about that. This is a lot of fun deck for me. I just don't play it too often because it potentially shuts down the entire board, and I've watched other people just sit there and not be able to play. And you know, I like to have everybody play, and I like to do weird stuff, so I only play it sometimes. I feel like I need to bring it possibly next time I come to the store that we go to, but we'll see. So here we go. Hello again, Harry. Nice to see you joining us. Chat lines are live. Spell live correctly. There we go. Always like to test the chat. So here we go. We got Nath of the Gilt-Leaf. Whoop whoop. So it's black and green and 3 colorless. So we got to figure out a way to get that out quick. So here we go. All right. As always, I like to start with the land, correct? So we're going to start with some land. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 swamps. This deck is a little more black heavy, so there is more black mana in it and black cards than anything else. Then we have forests. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 forests. You can see, again, again, my thing about having people sign cards is whenever I win a match or a commander game, I have everybody at the table sign my card and I date it. We can see I played it a lot in 2017 when I first built the deck, and then hardly at all in 2018. But this is what I thought was interesting that somebody did. First, they put a little guy hiding in the trees. So I like when people do that little stuff. And then of course Carl is weird. He wrote, "I'll shave your beard." I don't get it. And then where is it? This guy, he played a rats deck. So he took the black mana symbol, the little skull, and turned it into a rat, and then signed it. Pretty cool. I like when people do funky stuff like that. So other lands, we got Command Tower, of course, and that's my own art that I put in there. See if anyone can name what game is that from. We have discussed it on other streams recently, so there's your hint. But see if you can figure out what I used as my custom art for Command Tower. We'll put that off to the side here just so you guys can think about that. Jungle Hallow comes in the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, I gain a life, makes black or green. Foul Orchard basically does the same thing, comes into play tapped, black or green. I got an Overgrown Tomb. It's a swamp and a forest. As Overgrown Tomb enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 life. If you don't, Overgrown Tomb enters the battlefield tapped. Only if I really need to do I ever deal with that. And a good guess, Harry, but that is not the D&D game that we played last time. But it is something that I talked to you about quite a bit on one of the other streams, so you're on the right track. Think of this is though at the very beginning of the game you see this. So yeah, Overgrown Tomb, there we go. Tainted Woods, again, this is one of those tainted cards that I told you guys I like so much. Tap, add colorless, or tap, add black or green, and you can do that if you control a swamp. These lands are so good. There's like hardly any drawback for them. Leech-Ridden Swamp. It is a swamp. Comes in the battlefield tapped. But if I pay 1 black and tap it, each opponent loses 1 life. Activate this only if you control 2 or more black permanents. Well, again, most of the deck is black. So, just gives me an extra way to do damage to people to speed up the game a little bit. We got Barrenmoor. And we got Tranquil Thicket. Both come into play tapped, add black or green. And for black or green, they cycle. So I like cycling lands. So we got those in there. Okay, before I go any further, I realize I messed this up down here. That I have the wrong, commander down here. Let me fix that. We'll just get rid of the picture because there we go. Is that a custom description text? It is not. That is the original text on there. I didn't change any of that. I just changed the picture. So, alright. Zoetic Cavern. Tap to add 1 to my mana pool, or I can morph it for 2. Morph, of course, if you pay the 2, you put it into play upside down as a 2/2 creature. Or no, wait. Hold on. I always get confused with morph, because that was something that I was not familiar with originally. But, okay, so you can play it for morph for 3, and it comes out as a 2/2 creature. You can pay 2 and morph it into a land. Flip it over, morph it into a land. So this is in there in case I just need that extra creature for sacrificial reasons, or for, you know, I got enough land, because the deck doesn't really need too much land to get running. So it just gave me an option to get another creature out and not waste a card. Blighted Fen. Tap, add 1 colorless, or 4 and 1 black to tap and sacrifice Blighted Fen. Target opponent sacrifices a creature. So a lot of creature sacrificing in here. Gets around all the indestructible garbage out there that I can't stand. So we deal with that. Westvale Abbey. This was always an interesting card that I really liked. Tap it to add a colorless. Pay 5. Tap it. Pay 1 life. Put a 1/1 white and black human cleric creature token into the battlefield. Pay 5, tap it, sack 5 creatures, transform Westvale Abbey, then untap it. Okay, well, let's see, what does it transform into? It transforms into this thing. The Ormendal Profane Prince. It's a 9/7, flying, lifelink, indestructible, and haste. I have finished games so many times with this guy. I love these lands. When they first came out, they were really expensive. Then the price dropped. I kind of want more of them. One of these days, I might get another one of those. It looks really good in foil. Here's an old school land, Phyrexian Tower. Tap to add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. Sacrifice a creature, add 2 black to your mana pool. Again, I don't mind sacrificing creatures in this deck, and you'll see why in a bit. So, a lot of special lands in this deck. Grim Backwoods. Tap to add 1 colorless. 2 colorless, black, green. Sacrifice a creature, draw a card. All good things for me. And then Gearier Reach Sanitarium. This is one that I really want to see in foil, because that lighting in the art looks really cool. But again, tap to add 1 colorless. Pay 2, tap, each player draws a card, then discards a card. Again, we're all about discarding cards. Even if their hand is empty, they draw it, they discard it, and I get a bunch of little elf warriors. So, alright. So, the command tower art, because we didn't have anyone guess correctly, the command tower art is actually from Dragon's Lair. That's the very beginning when the castle comes out and you hear, like, it kind of does this in the game. It goes, and the castle kind of turns sideways, and then you go to the drawbridge scene, which is the very first scene of the game. So that's where it came from. I actually made a whole series of cards, custom cards that were Dragon's Lair, because again, that's my all-time favorite game. Or one of my all-time favorite games. So that's where that came from. So I'm going to shuffle up some lands. If you notice, a lot of these lands, like special lands and things, I made sure do not come into play tapped, because I need to come out fast and hard with this deck and get ahead of everyone first. And if I do, it's pretty awesome because I build up fast. So we're going to shuffle the cards a little bit here, and then we will get into the spells part of the deck. Let's see how we do. Alright, so that's shuffled up good. Let's get into the next part of the deck, which will get me into... yeah. Alright. Was about to say that it's just been a while since I've played Dragon's Lair. Well, I think... look online, because I swear there's a website that you can just play it directly in your web browser, just like they do a lot of games. So, like, do a quick search on Google. You might find something. Who knows? All right. So I said quick lands, right? Gotta get the mana out there fast. So we got Far Wandering. Search your library for a basic land card and put it into the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle your library. Threshold. If 7 or more cards are in your graveyard, instead search your library for up to 3 basic land cards and put them in the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle your library. So again, you saw how I'm doing a lot of sacrificing stuff, even with lands making me sacrifice things. So Threshold is not too tough to get. In late game too, that's really good because it will thin out land from my deck. Because late game, I don't want to be drawing lands anymore. I just want to grab cards so I can mess people up. Harrow, sacrifice a land, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and put them into play. Shuffle your library afterwards. You guys have seen me put this in a couple decks. It's an instant too. I keep forgetting it's an instant. The cool thing about this is that it essentially only costs 1 green to play it, because you pay the 1 green, you sack 2 land, you go get 2 land, put it into play, and they're untapped. So essentially it only costs 1 green. Great card. Deep Reconnaissance. Search your library for a basic land card and put that land into play tapped. Then shuffle your library. It also has a flashback of 5. Why not? If I have nothing else to do, why not flash it back and go put more land on the board? I just kind of put it in there for fast mana. And again, it's got flashback, so why the heck not? Primal Growth. Kicker, sack a creature. Search your library for a basic land card, put that land card into play, then shuffle your library. If you paid the kicker cost, instead search your library for 2 basic land cards, put them into play, shuffle your library. So it's again, I can sack a creature to go get 2 untapped land. Again, it basically in the end costs 1 green and a creature to get 2 more land on the field. It's worked out very well for me quite a few times. Let's see how we're doing here. I always like to double check the stream, make sure everything's working okay. Alright. So that's my go get mana. It's okay even getting that late game, I don't mind. Usually I do get that stuff early game though, which is good for me. Now we're getting into card draw stuff and discard stuff. So, Siphon Mind, each other player discards a card. You draw a card for each card discarded this way. I need to draw through a lot of my deck, so there's a lot of stuff in here to get me to draw cards, but I also want eventually you guys to draw cards because I empty everyone's hands pretty often, so you'll see how I do that too. Memory Jar. Tap, sack Memory Jar. Each player sets aside his or her hand face down, then draws 7 cards. At the end of turn, each player discards their hand and returns to their hand each card set aside at the beginning. So you take your hand, put it to the side. Okay. Sorry, let me do it this way. You take your hand, goes to the side. You draw 7 new cards. Use those till end of turn. At end of turn, all that stuff gets discarded and you get your old hand back. Okay? So this, when I play this on my turn, especially with Nath out there, I usually end up getting about 21 elves because again, in a 4-player game, each person discarded 7 cards. So I get a ton of tokens off of that. Plus, does it include myself discarding? No, opponent's discarding. So there we go. Down and dirty. Down, target player discards 2 cards. Dirty, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Both good options. And you can, what is it? It's called meld? Fuse. You can fuse these and actually cast both. So that's pretty awesome. Waste Not. Whenever an opponent discards a creature card, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. When an opponent discards a land card, I get 2 black. And when an opponent discards a non-creature, non-land card, I draw a card. This does a lot for only 2 mana. But all good options for me. Again, everyone is discarding a bunch of stuff, so I get a lot of different things from that. Remorseful Punishment. This is a killer card. Okay, target opponent loses 5 life unless that player discards 2 cards or sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. Repeat this process once. So it happens one time. It's basically like I'm casting this twice at somebody, and the people, every time I've cast it at somebody, it's been rough for them. So it's a good time. Let me beep. All right, good. Mind Twist. This old school. Target player discards X cards at random from their hand. If that player does not have enough cards in their hand, entire hand is discarded. That's a good time. I have mind twisted somebody like turn 3 and emptied their entire hand. They got real angry at me. It was Robbie. Sorry, Robbie. Arterial Flow. Each opponent discards 2 cards. If you control a vampire, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So a lot of these spells, again, it is commander, so you have to affect multiple people at once. So I looked for a lot of things that made multiple people discard cards at the same time. I mean, this whole thing is about empty everybody's hands, and I'm the only one that has cards to play. So Geth's Grimoire. Whenever an opponent discards a card from his or her hand, I get to draw a card. Again, lots of discarding, lots of drawing. Temple Bell. Each player draws a card when I tap it. So this I put in there because so many times I would get it down to where no one had a hand. So this is in there so I can make people draw a card so that still on my upkeep I still have a way to get an elf, because you'll see why having those elves are pretty important for me later on. But also, if they don't have cards in their hands, a lot of the stuff that makes multiple people discard, it does nothing. But also I get to draw a card, so that's good card draw for me too. Merciless Resolve. As an additional cost of Merciless Resolve, sack a creature or land to draw 2 cards. Altar's Reap. As an additional cost to Altar's Reap, sacrifice a creature. Draw 2 cards. You'll see why all this sacrificing comes in handy later. Golgari Germination. I actually found out I need to put this in my Slimefoot deck. Whenever a non-token creature I control dies, create a 1/1 green sapperling creature token. And look, it's foil. It's a foily one. It's pretty shiny if you see it in real life. This is a foil too. Fade into Antiquity. Exile target artifact or enchantment. Now I do realize that this is kind of random to have in there. Like, why shouldn't I put some, like a creature comes into play and does this ability? But there's no creature that will exile an artifact or enchantment. So I put this in there. It eventually might come out. This is one of those slots that's just kind of odd. Here we go. The sacrificing. Grave Pact and Dictate Erebos. Grave Pact and Dictate Erebos basically say whenever I lose a creature, everyone else sacks a creature. Dictate Erebos has flash though, so I can play that at any time. So again, you saw that there's a lot of ways for me to sack my creatures. So that is how I keep the board empty. Even if you do end up being able to play a creature card, I get rid of it with this kind of stuff and all the weird sack outlets that I have. This I have added, and I have not played the deck since I added this in. That is the Eldest Reborn. It's one of those sagas, so when it comes out, each opponent sacks a creature or a planeswalker. Then the next turn, each opponent discards a card. Then the third turn, put target creature or planeswalker card from a graveyard into the battlefield under my control. It's all good stuff. So this is actually the only saga that I really wanted from the new set, and I did get it in my pre-release kit, so I was pretty psyched. Grave Betrayal, just again to dominate the board. Whenever a creature I don't control dies, return it to the battlefield under my control with an additional +1/+1 counter on it at the beginning of the next end step. That creature is a black zombie in addition to other colors and types. So I have everyone... So OP Saga. Yeah, I know, this saga is awesome. So I have everybody sacking things to Grave Pact and Dictate Erebos, and then I'm getting all their creatures. So again, totally controlling the board. This I put in, and it is a card that I've always wanted to use, and in this deck I finally, the first time I played it after I put this in, it just made me dominate the game. Contamination. During your upkeep, sacrifice a creature or sacrifice Contamination. Whenever a land is tapped for mana, it produces black instead of normal type or amount. So all land is turned black. Well, again, if you notice, again, majority of my deck is black. So it did make it where I had a bunch of green cards in my hand, but I didn't need to play any of the green cards. The green in this deck is more for support. But the thing was, I was playing against like a white and red deck and a black and blue deck, and the guy kept drawing blue cards, so he couldn't play anything else. He couldn't play his commander. He couldn't do anything. And again, this will last forever unless somebody destroys it, because on my upkeep, nobody's playing anything except for me. And on my upkeep, someone will discard. I will get a 1/1 elf creature, and then it's still my upkeep, so I will sacrifice it to Contamination and still keep it out there. So every turn, no matter what, I will always have a creature to sack to Contamination as long as Nath is out there. It's just a sick combination, and it shut down the whole board, and it was pretty sick. People were just draw, go. That is a powerful card. Again, so I have more things to sacrifice. Night Soil. Again, one of the only good cards in Fallen Empires. Pay 1, remove 2 creatures in any graveyard from the game to put a Sapperling token into play. Treat this token as a 1/1 green creature. So graveyard removal for other folks. won so many games with this card. This, since it came out, I'm like, I gotta have it. Torment of Hailfire. 2 black and X. So repeat the following process X times. Each opponent loses 3 life unless that player sacrifices a non-land permanent or discards a card. Well, again, nobody's got a hand. Nobody's got any creatures on the board because I'm making everybody sacrifice things. So everybody takes a ton of damage off this, and I usually, and this card always ends games. Always ends games. Even if I don't play, if somebody else plays it, it ends the game. I actually lost to Carl last time I played to Torment of Hailfire because he did a board wipe, and then next turn he Torment of Hailfired for like 15, and I was dead. This is another one that I just put in there. Journey to Eternity. Enchant creature I control. When enchanted creature dies, return it to the battlefield under my control. Then return Journey of Eternity to the battlefield transformed under my control. So again, with all these creatures that I'm sacrificing, it's not that hard to get this thing to flip. And it flips into another land. Tap to add 1 color of any mana to my mana pool. Or 3 black and green. Return target creature card from my graveyard to the battlefield. So all good abilities on there. All good stuff. That is actually one of the better flip cards from that set that I liked as well. Panharmonicon, which I always laugh because it reminds me of an old Three Stooges episode. Nobody else remembers this episode except for my one old friend. Real nice land. Thanks, Clear Misfit. You talking about my my custom land that I made? I appreciate that. So Panharmonicon, what the deal is with Panharmonicon and Three Stooges? There was an episode where they were pharmacists and they were mixing up some kind of, they used a like a rubber boot for mixing things, and they're pouring all these things into the boot, right? And they're using like nonsense words for the ingredients, and one of them was Hanamanakenisen. And he go, every time they pass an ingredient, they'd be like, cotton. Then he'd put the cotton in. Then, water. And then they put the water in. He goes, Hanamanakenisen. And he looks at it and he goes, I said Hanamanakenisen. Hits him on the head. And then Larry hits Curly. I said Hanamanakenisen, and hits him. So then they go Hanamanakenisen. Hanamanakenisen. Here it is. I need to make this a custom card and find that screenshot. But Panharmonicon, what it does is, if an artifact or creature entering the battlefield causes triggered abilities of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So that also is creatures ETB effects. So when we get into creatures, you'll see why that is cool. This is a card no one expects. Am I going the right direction? Okay. I'm getting lag again. ETP lovers. So Temporal Extortion says, when I play Temporal Extortion, any player may pay half their life rounded up if the player does counter Temporal Extortion. So first I'll talk about the first part of that. Either way, for 4 mana, I have the chance to take half of someone's life. Alright? But what this does is take an extra turn. It's a black time walk. Potential black time walk, or some serious damage on somebody for 4. Nobody sees this card coming. Everybody's like, wait, what are you playing? So that's why I like it so much, because I used to like collect every card that said take another turn. I mean, I had every single one of them and 4 of them except for yeah, this card is sweet. So, I had a deck where all I did was take extra turns, and they couldn't stop me, where my turn just never ended. I was banned from ever playing that deck again because everybody got angry and just said, if you ever play that deck again, we just all quit. So it was all well, everything except time walk, because I did not, of course, I didn't have the power 9, but I had like 4 time warps, time spirals, the artifact that you tap to take another turn, with voltaic keys to untap, everything. All my spells were free. It was all full of counter spells, so nobody could even stop it. It just got stupid, and I mean, I would feel the same way, but it was fun to at least see that I could do it. And that was back in the old days, back again, maybe 15 years ago. So it was. How do I have friends left? Easy. I don't play that deck anymore. So. Oh no! Trust me, clear misfit. It takes a lot to offend me, so don't worry about JK and I don't care. Overrun. So we already said that I'm making a ton of tokens, right? So all my creatures I control get +3/+3 and gain trample until end of turn. One of my favorite old school cards. We won so many games with that. Although I've never gotten this in my hand and won with this deck. Very strange that I've never drawn this card once out of all the times I played the deck. Alright, so here's another fun combo right here. Liliana's Caress, Megrim, and Raider's Wake. Liliana's Caress, well, all 3 of them, whenever an opponent discards a card, that player loses 2 life. But Raider's Wake also has Raid at the beginning of your end step. If you attacked with a creature this turn, target opponent discards a card. So it's also instantly it's a discard and someone loses 2 life. Megrim, Liliana's Caress all do the same thing. And again, this gets really stupid when you team it up with Memory Jar. Again, everybody puts their hand to the side, draws 7 new cards, at end of turn they discard it all. Well, 7 times 2, that's 14 damage to everybody except me. If I have 2 of these out, 28 damage. If I have all 3 out, the game's over, I win. So that's, Memory Jar is really sick in this deck. I've done so many sick shenanigans with Memory Jar. That's been so much fun. But that is the spells that are in the deck. Next we get to creatures. Creature shenanigans. Who's ready for that mess? I don't even know where I came up with the idea for this deck. I had a discard deck before. I forget who the commander was. But this is one of those decks where I just kept messing with it until it got good. And it got good. In fact, I was gonna play it last weekend, but I was teaching a new person how to play Magic, and I'm like, I can't play discard against a brand new player because they won't get to play. And you gotta make it fun for the new people the first time they play. So otherwise they won't ever play again, right? So, and I'll remind everybody, if you're not subscribed yet, please hit the not subscribed, following yet, because we haven't hit subscriber level yet. But if you're watching now, please hit the little follow button. That's the little heart at the top of your phone or your screen. I appreciate that. So here we go. Creatures. Again, a lot of sacrificing going on, right? So Abyssal Gatekeeper. If Abyssal Gatekeeper is put into any graveyard from play, each player chooses and buries a creature they control. Were we on Saturday? I was there till 6. On Saturday, I was teaching the new people how to play at my house. So we're all supposed to go there this weekend because this weekend is open house. So I'm bringing the newbies so they can get some new cards. You know, the little starter decks that they give. Get some promo cards. We're gonna be there for a while because later on Saturday there's some place that's doing fireworks. So hey, Clear Misfit, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. So we'll be there for maybe 2-3 hours, play a couple games, and then head out to fireworks. So good times. Slum Reaper. When Slum Reaper enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature. So sometimes I will play this and end up sacrificing this to itself, but usually by then I will have a bunch of 1/1 elves from people discarding. So everybody else sacrificing creatures and coming out behind. Fleshbag Marauder. When Fleshbag Marauder enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature. So at worst, it's a 3 mana, everyone sack a creature. Because you can, again, play it. Everyone sacks a creature. I choose this to sacrifice. So both of those cards kind of work the same way with that. Magus of the Abyss. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, destroy target non-artifact creature that player controls of his or her choice. It can't be regenerated. Great card. I remember in the old days one of my friends actually got a copy of The Abyss, which was from the Dark, and it basically was an enchantment that did the same thing. I think it cost like 3 mana to get it on the table or something, and every time he played that, we couldn't deal with it unless you were playing white with old school disenchants. Acidic Slime. Here we go. This is another card that I did my own art on. It's a Death Touch. When Acidic Slime enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact, enchantment, or land. So who knows what that art's from? It's a movie from probably mid-90s, late 80s, early 90s, something like that. So we'll put that to the side to see if you guys can figure out where I got that from. Ravenous Chupacabra. When Ravenous Chupacabra enters the battlefield, destroy target creature and opponent controls. Shriekmaw. Fear. When Shriekmaw comes into play, destroy target non-artifact, non-black creature, and you can evoke it for 2, which means you play it basically as a spell, because it comes out, dies. Again, these are all the weird Panharmonicon triggers. So a lot of this can happen twice if Panharmonicon's out there. Indulgent Tormentor. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card unless target opponent sacrifices a creature or pays 3 life. Both good options. I don't mind either one. Again, they usually don't have creatures out there, so they'll choose to take 3 life, or they will just let me draw a card. Just give me cards. Again, anyone know where Acidic Slime is coming from? Acidic Slime? Anyone know the movie? Harvester of Souls. Death Touch 5/5. When another non-token creature I control dies, I can draw a card. Fun card draw. Sangomancer. Flying 3/3. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, I gain 3 life. Whenever an opponent discards a card, I gain 3 life. So just in case the game gets a little late, I have ways to get my life back up. Butcher of Malakir. Flying 5/4. When Butcher of Malakir or another creature you control dies, each opponent sacks a creature. So another Grave Pact on a creature. Good stuff. Let's see. Rotting Rats. Here comes the discarding cards. When Rotting Rats comes into play, each player discards a card, including myself. Unearth. I can pay that the casting cost, return this card from the graveyard to play. It gains haste, remove it from game at end of turn if it would leave play. I always forget that this thing has Unearth. And so many times that could actually have finished the game that much faster or won me the game. So I always forget about this stupid card, because Unearth is another one of those abilities that came out when I quit Magic for the 10-year span. So Woo, that was a good one. Miasmic Mummy. When Miasmic Mummy enters the battlefield, each player discards a card, including me. But my hand is usually so full, I don't mind discarding cards. Gotta keep it old school with the old Hypnotic Spectre. It's a flying 2/2. If he damages an opponent, they discard a card at random. I love the at random, because, well, I usually get the correct card at random. So this is actually from an unlimited printing. So, but, I mean, I'm in a discard deck. There has to be a Hypnotic Spectre, better known as a hippie. That's what we always called it back in the old days. Liliana Spectre. This is one of my few, like, full art promo cards. Flying 2/1. When Liliana Spectre enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. One of my friends got me that. I think Robbie bought me that. Appreciate it. They were always nice to me. Blood Husk Ritualist. Uh-oh. The chat is getting stupid. Hold on. I didn't realize that you were chatting with me. Let me refresh the chat and see if it will fix itself. Who was Black Gold? Which one? The Hypnotic Spectre? Because, definitely. Back in the old days, it used to be turn 1, Dark Ritual, Hypnotic Spectre. So much fun to do that to people. Bloodhusk Ritualist, multi-kicker, 1 black. When Bloodhusk Ritualist enters the battlefield, target opponent discards a card for each time it was kicked. So you can potentially empty someone's hand with that. And I'm testing the chat real quick. It has decided to break itself. So I'll just keep an eye on my phone because I have the chat going here too. So I can still stay in contact with everyone. Technical difficulties. Always a good time. So multi-kicker. This is a card I've never gotten to actually play it yet. Cackling Fiend. This is old school. When Cackling Fiend comes into play, each of your opponents chooses and discards a card. Urgoros, the Empty One. It's one of those new legends. So this is again another card that I've added recently to the mix, and have not played it yet. So flying 4/3. Whenever Urgoros, the Empty One, deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card at random. If the player can't, I draw a card. Both good options. I like it. It's actually like a better Hypnotic Spectre. Elvish Lyricist. 1 green, tap, sack, destroy target enchantment. Because I don't want other people having anything on the board. And I don't mind sacrificing stuff. I can't do anything about the lag. So, I realize that there's lag sometimes. My internet is not the best. My laptop is really old. So, please bear with me on the lag. Caustic Caterpillar. 1 colorless, 1 green. Sacrifice Caustic Caterpillar. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. There is also some new dinosaur that does something very similar to that. You just caught that I'm a 2/2? Yes, because I'm like super strong. Look at those muscles. You like that? You jealous? That's why I'm a 2/2. That's legendary creature because there's only one of me. Gamer, of course, I play everything. I actually had that as a while where I was like a legendary wizard because wizards are wimpy. But I almost made myself a 2/1 because I'm fierce on attack, but don't hit me because you're gonna freaking destroy me. 5 color though, yeah, because I play all 5 colors, man. I didn't say I was a good card. I'm just a card. And you can make me my your commander if you want to. So anyway, there's this new dinosaur that does the same kind of thing for 2 colorless. And I think he costs 2 mana. So, very hard card to find. But thanks, I like to think I'm funny. You know, even if no one else thinks I'm funny, at least I'm my biggest fan. And that's important, you see. If you don't think that yourself is funny, then you're probably not. Just like if you can't find the weirdo on the bus, there's always a weirdo on the bus, and if you can't find it, it's you. So, Heart Warden. Tap, add 1 green mana to your mana pool. Pay 2, sack them to draw a card. So, quick mana and possibility of drawing a card. Here goes. This is all the mana dorks. Okay, here we go with the mana dorks. Primal Druid. When Primal Druid dies, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it in the battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library. Again, I'm sacking creatures, so whatever. Gotta have when they die, they gotta do stuff. When Fairhaven... Actually, let's move ahead a second. Here's another one. When it dies, it does stuff. Treasure Keeper. I love this card. If I didn't laugh at myself, I'd be the only one not doing it. So everyone thinks you're funny too. That's awesome. That means you're surrounding yourself with the right people. Treasure Keeper. When Treasure Keeper dies, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land card with converted mana cost 3 or less. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Put all revealed cards not cast this way on the bottom of your library in a random order. So again, sacrificial cards that, what would my effect be? Well, my effect is apparently chat, because I made that the chat box. I don't know. My effect would be to either make you laugh or not, I guess. To entertain? To be a dashing man? I don't know, because I didn't do my mustache today. I did do this a little bit different. I cut the sides off. Scared Finn to death when I did it. My son is 6. And he's like, Dad, you shaved your face. I don't like it. And he started crying. But normally I do have a handlebar mustache. Just, I am too lazy to do it sometimes. So, there it is, kind of. Nah. I don't know. What do you guys think my effect would be if I was a creature? What would my ETB effect be? I walk in the room, and what happens? So Treasure Keeper, great card. Fairhaven Elf. When Fairhaven Elf enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land. Put it in the battlefield tapped. If you do, shuffle your library. Yavimaya Elder. This card I kind of can go either way with. When Yavimaya Elder is put into a graveyard from play, you may search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal them, put them in your hand. So this is a good way to thin garbage land out of the deck. Pay 2, sack Yavimaya Elder, draw a card. Effect is binge watch all the streams or lose infinite life for your opponents. Kind of dig it. So yeah, binge watch all my past streams, comment on them anyway. Let's see, Clear Misfit says, I'm lazy, so it would have to still be triggered from the command zone, whatever it would be. Triggered from the command zone. So when you're lounging on your couch, tap target phone, food is delivered to your mouth instantly. How's that? Is that a good one? I'm actually going to try flipping something real quick and see if... Hey, the chat's working again. Good, now everyone can read everybody. When Elvish Visionary enters the battlefield, draw a card. That works? Yeah. I've actually done that with my wife before. Is like I was sitting on the couch and the remote was on the table, and I went like this for long enough, and eventually she put the controller into my hand, and I was like, "Woo!" I used my Jedi mind trick. I have the Force. That remote flew right into my hand. So, apparently I'm a Jedi. I just did it long enough to the point where eventually I knew she was going to know what I was doing. It's pretty awesome. Which Ashley, my wife, usually does streams with me on Wednesdays and Thursdays whenever I can find a game that she is interested in playing. So it is the little things. Little things that show you care. So she does like Wednesdays and Thursdays. She's also done a few of the past streams, so you can check those out as well. Wall of Blossoms. When Wall of Blossoms comes into play, draw a card. Just give me cards. Deathrite Shaman. This guy does a lot. Tap, exile target land card from the graveyard. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So exiling other people's graveyards. 1 black. 1 black, exile target instant or sorcery card from a graveyard. Each opponent loses 2 life. Or 1 green, tap, exile target creature card from a graveyard. I gain 2 life. So it gives me a lot of options. And Finn is actually my Padawan. When we are done playing, actually, we both have lightsabers and we have lightsaber battles all the time. And when I'm done here, we're actually going to go in the other room, and if he's still awake, we're going to play some Mario Party 8 on Wii. Because that's what he chose that he wanted to play. So we play lots of games. And you know, he's 6 and he plays Magic. So he can't even read the stinking cards yet. I just tell him what they are and he remembers them by the picture. And he plays. He has a Slimefoot deck and he does pretty darn good. We were in a 4-player game and he killed 2 people. Then it was down to me and him, and then, you know, of course, you know, I had to beat him. So, Liliana Heretic Healer, lifelink 2/3. When another non-token creature you control dies, exile Liliana Heretic Healer, then return her to the battlefield transformed under your player's control. If you do, you get a 2/2 zombie. So, creature dies. Again, we've already established I'm sacrificing all kinds of stuff. I'm going to get 1 right back. This is going to flip into a Planeswalker that says 2, each player discards a card. X, return target non-legendary creature card with converted mana cost X from graveyard to the battlefield. Or the ultimate 8, I get an emblem that says whenever a creature dies, return to the battlefield under my control at the beginning of the next end step. So totally taking over the board with Liliana. That is the only Liliana I have. I do make him earn the wins, but he does beat me fair and square sometimes too, so yeah, that was out of that not from the vault. It was one of those special sets where you got all the flip cards in foil. You got like 15 of them or something like that. Got a lot of good stuff out of that set. Entomber Exarch. When this creature enters the battlefield, choose 1. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, or target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-creature card from it that player discards. So I have the choice of going either way with that. And it's foily, so why not? Okay, this has made me win games as well. Gerard Golgari Lichlord. I kind of want to make this guy as a commander deck someday. Gerari Lichlord gets +1/+1 for each creature card in my graveyard. Pay a colorless, a black, and a green. Sacrifice another creature. Each opponent loses life equal to the sacrificed creature's power. Sacrifice a swamp and a forest. Return Jared from your graveyard to your hand. So he does lots of good things. That's your commander, huh? Yeah, I have too many different graveyard decks. That's why I haven't done it. But this guy definitely wins games pretty quick. And you get a lot of big green creatures out there with black support. I just got a doubling season. Oh, Jesus. You know, I bought 6 packs of Battle Bond and got total garbage. Some Padawans have Padawans. Really? I don't know about that. But they're definitely full of midi-chlorians. We all know how much we love that idea. That's awesome that you got a doubling season, though. 2 boxes? Pfft. Yeah, I can't spend that kind of money anymore. The most boxes I ever bought was of Urza's Saga. It was a 300 and something card set, and I bought 13 boxes of that set, and literally had 4 of everything and then some. Like, I was just throwing cards at people because I just didn't care anymore. But Urza's Saga had like so many good cards in it that I did not mind buying that many things. And I was buying the boxes for like 85 bucks a piece. But I had so much money back then. Made 100 bucks back off that. Well, then you totally got your money's worth. You basically bought 2 boxes, but got your money back for 1 box. So, totally worth it. Land tax, I have land tax back from 4th edition. A lot of Battle Bond cards I actually already had, except for some of the new stuff. So most of that I've already seen before. I do want the guy, though, that lets you go get, when he dies, lets you go get a Planeswalker and put it into play. Have I seen Rebels? The teacher who is a Padawan has a Padawan. I have not watched Star Wars Rebels at all, but I did see the Solo movie, which I thought was pretty good. Pretty good. Not the best. It was pretty good. Here's one of the last cards in the deck. Voldurin Pariah. Man, I can't even read. Flying 3/3, sacrifice 3 other creatures, transform it, and madness 3. So this is, I feel like there needs to be more madness in this deck, because again, I have things that make me discard as well. But so essentially I can get this out for 3, and if it flips, when this creature transforms, target opponent sacks 3 creatures. So again, ways to keep the board empty and keep my board rolling. I don't mind sacking 3 creatures, especially if I have any of the Grave Pact effects out there, because then everyone else is sacrificing 3 creatures and I'm having someone else sacrifice 3. So one person's losing 6 creatures to my 3. It's all good stuff. Going back through this deck, I was surprised at what I put together here, because for a good 6 months there I got real into it and started really thinking through stuff, and came up with this deck, which worked really well. But now I just got more casual again, simply because I'm not playing against more of the crazy competitive people anymore at my local shop. I'm playing more, you know, with my son. He's 6. I can't get crazy competitive with him. I have to make it fun for both of us. So I just kind of screw around a lot. Alright, Harry. I will see you maybe this Saturday. So again, always appreciate you tuning in and supporting me. Heck, I'll see you tomorrow, Harry, online, when we do whatever game I'm going to do. But hold on, you never said what movie this was, and I'm going to give you what movie this was. It's from Aliens. That's one of the spitters, and they would spit slime, or not slime, they spit acid, so acidic slime, and their blood was acid as well. So that's why I put Alien on there. So what we do now, because Clear Misfit, you have not been here before when I've done this. I thank you again for tuning in new. What we do now is I actually will run the deck a few sample hands so we can see how the deck plays out. And anytime that I split a deck up, I've been playing a year and a half maybe. Don't get to play that much, and don't get me started on the play group. Oh boy, you got one of those groups? Yeah, I used to play, because I've been playing this since basically Revised. So way early in Magic history. I mean, I have binders and binders and binders of cards. I sold most of it off about 12 years ago when I thought Magic was dying off, and I literally had at least 4 or 5 of all the original dual lands, which are worth ungodly amounts now. I had like Bazaar Baghdad, which I paid like $5 for, and now it's worth like 800 bucks. I had a bunch of crazy powerful cards that I sold off. I mean, at the time I got a ton of cash for it though. But I started filling in the gap of all my of a lot of the 10 years, a lot of the 10 years that I missed. And Commander was not a thing back then, but I used to we always played multiplayer. We would play every day, all day. So, and this is like I'm like in my 20s, early 20s, playing Magic every day with a couple of friends. It's actually how we met a lot of our friends too. But we would play all the time, and multiplayer back then was literally any card you had, you'd play it. And you can have up to 4 of anything in a deck, and deck was minimum 60 cards. But everybody had 20 life. So it was just like regular Magic, except multiple people playing, and the game was completely different than it is now back then. But me and my friend, my best friend Ryan, we would, like I said, we'd buy like boxes of cards and just go crazy into it. And we were the two that would walk into a store and everybody be like, oh crap, they're here. Because we would wreck everybody. We had the most competitive decks. I remember one time we had a thing where everybody in the whole store went into one game. So it was like 10 people sat down to play one giant multiplayer game. And it was like by like turn 4, we had killed off, and it was not teams or anything. I just couldn't stop my friend Ryan. Turn 4 or 5, we literally killed everybody at the table. He couldn't stop me, I couldn't stop him. We killed off everybody at the table, and it was just me and him, and we pretty much just shook hands and left. and quit the game, because we knew that we'd be there forever to kill each other. And everybody was just like so angry that we were able to like dominate the board so hard. It was such a good time. Alright, so we're about ready to run some sample hands here. So you can see how this thing plays. So let me pull the commander back and draw my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. Land, land, land. Always put my land together in my hand. So we got a Hypnotic Spectre, a Grey Pact, an Extumer Exarch, and a Fairhaven Elf. This is a doable hand. First draw. Boop. Miasmic Mummy. So first turn I play an Overgrown Tomb. Tapped. I'm not going to spend the life for that. Second turn, play a Swamp. I drew a Temporal Extortion. And let's see. I wouldn't get crazy yet, because I don't want to be a target. That's the thing with this deck, is you can easily make yourself a target really fast, because it can come out making people discard way too early, and you don't want to do that. So I'd play a Fairhaven Elf to get the mana base up. Library for a basic land. At this point, I would get a Forest. So that's turn 3. Turn 4 would be draw. You get a Westvale Abbey. So turn 4, I have 5 mana and can get Nath the Gilt out. If you were to build a Jared as a commander, I'd be interested in your deck list. Gerard. Oh yeah, that guy. I don't know. I'd have to check it out. I think I'd have to tear apart too many other decks to be able to make that deck. So that's the only thing I'm concerned about. That's why I haven't done it. So let's see. This is turn 5. Draw. I get another land. This deck only has 36 land in it, so it's doing pretty good. So someone would also discard. How do you like my token for for my elf? So someone would be discarding. Turn 5, I have 6 mana, right? So for protection, I would probably put out a Grave Pact. That actually works out very well. Wall of Blood. God, I don't remember Wall of Blood. It sounds familiar, but I don't remember what that wall does. I'm thinking more, what is it? Buried Alive type effects. And, yeah, Buried Alive. Pay life, it gets bigger. Oh, I get it. I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. But Buried Alive type effects, Reanimator type stuff. Of course, yeah, sack everything to that. Okay, so we got this. The next turn, I'll make another token because somebody will be discarding. Draw another card. I've gotten a land every single time, and I got everything I need in my hand right here to play the stinking game. So watch this. At this point, it would be I'll sack 5 creatures for Westvale Abbey. That's not good. Let's see. Oh, no, I got it. Miasmic Mummy. When it enters the battlefield, each player discards a card. I will discard a Hypnotic Spectre. No, yeah. And that will give me 3 more tokens. We'll just put some Nintendo cartridges just to keep track. In case you can't tell, I play a lot of retro games. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dang it, I didn't have enough mana for that. So we'd go to next turn. And I got a Ravenous Chupacabra. So at this point, yep, I got another token. So I'd sack all my tokens. I would still have 1 out there. 3, 4, 5. Flip the Westvale Abbey. Everyone would sack 5 creatures because of Grave Pact being out. Sorry, I put that too far to the side. And yeah, the deck would just be wreck in town at this point. Next turn would be a Primal Druid. So it just, yeah, I mean, that was actually a good hand. This deck always has a good hand, a good run, and I can run it late game too. I mean, it's not a big deal if the game goes long. But if you notice, I didn't make everyone discard very much that time around. It was more dealing with the creatures on the table. So even if they were playing things, it didn't matter because I was board wiping because of Grave Pact, right? So let's see what it does if I run another hand. By the way, on the channel here, I have been doing this like, yeah, everybody just definitely starts coming after me. But you know, if they're coming after me, I start blocking with everything, and then everyone is sacrificing creatures because I had Grave Pact out. Once Grave Pact hits the table, you're automatically a target. Let's see, what was I saying? I don't even remember what I was saying. It's one of those nights. Oh, yeah, that I've been doing. Every Tuesday night I do my commander deck text where I just grab one of my commander decks. I have like 15 commander decks. Not all of them are good, but all of them are fun because I usually like doing weird jank stuff. So check out some of my past streams and you'll see some of my other decks and get an idea for my play style that's kind of goofy. I don't like to net deck. I like to come up with my own ideas and do things completely different. Maybe I'll look at the internet after I've already made a deck to see if there's cards that I don't know about that kind of make sense. But I don't spend a lot of money on Magic anymore because I don't have it. I got the kids. I got to take care of the family, yo. So I only buy cheapy cards, and I don't really have anything to trade anymore. So here's my hand this time around. So we're doing a whole new hand here. So what I would do is draw and play a Barrenmore. It's turn 1, I really don't need anything. Turn 2, I would play that and play a Caustic Caterpillar just to keep those artifacts and enchantments off early. Turn 3, play a Swamp. And yeah, that's a good one. That is not a target that anyone cares about. Golgari Germination. If I lose a creature, I get a 1/1 Sapperling. Nobody really cares that much, so it's not even a target. There's usually something way more threatening on the board. Turn 4, we'll put a Elvish Visionary out and draw a card. Again, how threatening do I look right now at turn 4, right? Turn 5, here we go. I'll put a Swamp down, keep the basic lands rolling. Boom. Put out Nath. Again, not that much going on. Somebody's going to discard at random. There's my token. Next turn. Okay. And I just got a Grey Pact. How awesome is that? Actually, I put out a Gaia Reach Sanitarium. And at this point, the blue player would probably get it. Because blue is like one of the things that can stop this deck. Blue and tokens. Tokens I have trouble with as well. So what should I do? Should I play a Grave Pact? Should I play a Mind Twist? Or should I Blood Husk Ritualist someone with Multi-Kicker? I mean, these are all good options. Journey to Eternity, in case I lose Nath. Actually, that might be the best option, is to protect Nath, in case it gets killed. And then... oh, here we go. Activate the land. Everybody draws a card and discards a card. I would discard Great Betrayal at that point. So, there we go. We need another token. We'll put Madden 94 as a token. Draw. Play another Swamp. So I got plenty of land flowing in this deck. I mean, you see that it's land is not an issue at all. Ooh, that'd be good. Okay. 4. No, I can't do it. Can't do it. I wanted to play a Grave Pact and a Slum Reaper. So, let's see, just in case, we'll Grave Pact. And then we will, I'll Mind Twist somebody for 2. And get 2 more tokens. More goofy tokens. Alright, Tainted Wood. I don't know if you saw that at the beginning. The Tainted lands are awesome. I love them. Let's see, how's it going here? So, Tainted Wood. Now we do it. We totally Slum Reaper. 1, 2, 3, 4. For a Slum Reaper, everybody sacks a creature while I'll sack a token, which will Grave Pact everybody. And, well, actually, what is it now? When it enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature. So I will lose 1 token, and everybody else will lose 2 creatures. And then... what? Just to play it at this point. I would Bloodhusk Ritualist, making 1 person discard. I got no hand though. Where's all my card draw? I guess it's unneeded because watch, it's gonna be a land. Nope, Megrim. Cool. So put a Megrim out, and I would get another token, and pay 2. Each player draws and then discards. And I get more tokens, and I start overrunning the board at this point with the discarding and the Megrims and the Grave Packs and the wank wank wank. I could sack this to make everybody sack a creature. I mean, I have options on the table. Again, you didn't see a lot of the discarding stuff kick in, but you can see that even if people aren't really discarding, just having that 1 token per turn gives me that little extra edge that I need to have stupid things to sacrifice to make the other parts of the deck work. So you see more of the power when you actually play it in a game. I don't know if you can tell by watching me play it just then what the deck is fully doing, but you can tell it's a lot of black-green suppression with me eventually outnumbering everyone and, well, killing everybody while they can't get to me. The only thing that, again, that really messes me up is token decks, lots of crazy flyers, or Sigarda. Goddamn Sigarda. I can't deal with that card, and Carl plays it on me all the time. He actually finally took that deck apart. Thank God he did, because he would play that against my Shattergang Brothers deck, which makes you sacrifice everything. Well, of course, Sigarda says, I can't make you sacrifice stuff. So he would always pull that deck out on me, and we would grab our decks at random, and we always randomly grabbed the same 2 decks that would counteract each other like that. It was such an annoying thing. But I think that is going to be it for tonight. So I hope you guys all had a good time hanging out with me, telling some jokes, being stupid, checking out some Magic. One of these days I'll get it where I will actually play someone some Magic, maybe some one-on-one commander games, 1v1 commander. We'll see what I can pull together. It'd be like me versus Finn or something, because again, I'm doing this in my house right by my game shelf, and well, my wife hates Magic, and my sister-in-law, it's late at night, so she's tired. It's 10:30 here now, so I don't know what time zone you're in, but I mean, I'm always trying new things with the channel. So again, Tuesdays at 9 I do Magic Commander decks, Wednesdays at 9 and Thursdays at 9 I do retro gaming. It's just kind of whatever I feel like playing. I still have not figured out what I am going to play tomorrow, so you'll have to tune in to find out. Again, Clear Misfit, thank you for following me today. If anyone else is watching, please hit that follow button, because I appreciate any support. Tell your friends about me, because I'm just starting up, so help me out, let me know, and there you go. So I better go, and tune in next time where the gaming never ends, as long as you press continue. See you tomorrow.